Good morning. Good morning, love. I feel like that was a little high for me, just a little high, but good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good everything, wherever you are in this world. I'm going to be reacting to some more DIY braid videos, and we are going to get right into it because these are juicy, honey. I mean, juicy, juicy. So let's get started. Our first video is going to be by, let me start it over. My bad, y'all. It is going to be by, her name is Mariah Kammer. It's kind of hard for me to see, but her name is Mariah Kammer, and it's called DIY Knotless Box Braids. So let's get right into it. Oh, we're in full screen mode. All right, here we go.
Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a DIY small box braid video. So stay tuned if you want to achieve this one. You're going to need some braiding hair. This is the brand I like. I use 5 packs in 1"26". You're also going to need some edge wax for your braids. I love this kind. You're going to need some clips, some moisturizer, some mousse, some organic coconut oil, some oil of your choice, and some edge control, a rat tail comb, edge brush, and scissors. This is my hair like fully washed and blow dried with absolutely like no product in it.
Okay, real quick, because I'm not sure how she's going to go about it, but using all of that product is concerning to me. But we'll see. We'll see how she uses all of that product, because if you use more product on your scalp, the braids won't be as sleek and they will be oily and they will actually probably cake up and turn white. So we'll see how she uses these products.
So I'm going to put some moisturizer. I might take a lot since I am braiding my own hair. I want to be Next, I'm gonna go with some organic coconut oil. I just like to put this on like the ends of my hair, just so that I know they're sealed. I'm gonna take a little bit because the way that I actually like part my hair and everything is like Snapchat. Like so, this is what I do.
Okay. So that answered my question. So the coconut oil and the moisturizer is like used as like a conditioner or like a protectant for her hair as it's underneath her braids. And that's going to keep her hair moisturized, somewhat moisturized underneath her braids as she wears them. So that makes sense. I thought she was going to put all that on her scalp. I had no idea what was going on, so she answered it.
So in order to part my hair, I actually use Snapchat. So I part to my desire, as you see, and I take a picture of it, and I part again, and I feel around just to see like how big or small the part is. I section my hair off. I take that extra hair and put it back in the ponytail with the rest of the hair. I take another picture. I do it with the flash on because it's more defining, in my opinion. And if I have any little mishaps, I just get rid of that. I repart, and I basically continue. I take another picture. I take some of my product now that I've had the part as straight as I can possibly get it. I just go in with the edge wax and just put it all over the part, and then I begin to define the part. Take another picture. Then I'm parting it again after I've already parted with product this time though. And I'm just separating it.
Okay. The amount of taking a picture on Snapchat and parting it as you go is crazy. That's a whole nother level of struggle bus. Like, you could easily mirror your phone to your TV, set up your camera, and part as you go. Like, that's mind-blowing. That's a whole different level of dedication. Like, to sit there and blindly part, I can't even imagine doing that. Like, that takes a whole nother level of skill that I just don't have the willingness to do. So sis, kudos to you. I give it to you, because that is a whole nother level of dedication that most of us don't have. Crazy.
And just making it as smooth as possible. And sometimes I even take videos because I'm just that extra. And I take another picture, and I'm just trying to part as straight as possible, obviously. And I took one more picture,
Crazy.
and I think I'm satisfied. No, okay, so I took another picture because I clearly wasn't. Okay. For this next particular part, I'm just going to show you how I do my knotless braids, my preferred method. So you take your hair and you put it in 3 sections. Make sure your hair is real, like has a lot of gel and product on it, pretty much. Not a lot, but a significant amount. And then I like to start off with taking one piece of hair at the root, and then I start braiding, like people call it underhand, I guess. And I just begin to braid. And then the next, like I braid until my real strand of hair right here on the right is left alone. Then I have my next piece. And all together, there's going to be 3 pieces you're adding, like all at once in the root area. And then since I want my braids a little bit longer than normal, I'm going to be adding a 4th piece of hair, but that's when I get past my root hair.
Okay, so it looks like she's just like, the way she adds the braids is like inconsistent. So instead of going, okay, 1, 2, let me add hair, 1, 2, let me add hair, 1, 2, let me add hair, she just braids until she feels like she needs to add some more hair. So we'll see how that looks.
Okay, originally when you're doing out this box braid, you normally would only add 3 pieces to your, like, feed in 3 pieces to your braid. But since I want mine just a little bit smaller than like normal, I'm going to be adding 4 pieces. The way like I add the 4th piece in is like once I get past my root hair, I like to take the 4th piece and just like add it right on there. Or you can just measure up and see like where you want it to end and you just add it in there. I'm going to show you. It's easier to like take it like this, like where it's at, and then these 2 pieces that are out, you just add it in like this.
So also when you're adding extra hair and stuff like that, it does increase the thickness of the braid. So she's saying she's adding that for length, but also in the long run, her braids at the end will appear thicker than how it is at the top. So just keep in mind when you're adding extra hair, unless you have super thick hair, our natural hair starts to taper at the end. Unless you start adding hair at the end, then more than likely the braid is not going to appear thicker if you keep the same braid pattern. So like you can braid the hair and then loosen up your braid a little bit at the end of the hair to kind of keep that consistent look without adding hair. But most people, they usually add in an extra piece of hair towards the end of the client's hair so that it looks more consistent. So she's doing something else. She's adding it because she wants a longer braid.
I am at the top of my head, and I also have the next section pre-recorded, but this is where we're at. So all this done, and all this done, and
Woo! Oh my gosh! Hold on, let's run that back. Wow. Hold on, because I'm trying to. Oh my god! Don't do that. Let's run that back one more time. I'm trying to get that. Okay, whatever. But anyways, look at that. Sis did that. Those braids look really clean. They look like somebody else did them. Like even the parting, everything. For her to part blindly is crazy to me. And the way that these parts are looking, they look like somebody actually went in and parted her hair. So I'm impressed. I really am impressed. Like, do you? So she's just adding in the hair. Okay. Ooh, she's on the last braid. Oh.
It's now 8:23, and okay, y'all, this is the final product. I just got done dipping them. I haven't even put mousse or setting spray. I haven't put anything on them. This is what they look like. Very flat, very not loose.
Okay, let me go back because yee.
Very flat, very not loose.
I hope she okay. I don't want to be rude or disrespectful, but some people do not like a middle part. So I hope she's one of those people that don't like a middle part because that's not a middle part at all. Like the middle part starts from the nose and comes up. As you see, I did my braids. The middle part is consecutive. It's consistent with my nose. So, and some people really don't like that because they like to flip their hair over. They like to wear it to the side, whatever the situation is, some people just like the look of a off middle part. So I really hope that that's it. If not, sis, you probably should have checked. You probably should have checked the middle part before you installed it. But listen, she's done her big one.
Yeah, they are like soaking wet right now. I bought both these clothes I showed in the video.
Okay, so it looked intentional because literally that the box is right in the middle of her head. So it looked intentional.
In the video, I'll be using these. I poured both of them in the bottle, shook it up, and I'm gonna be using this to oil my hair. So
All right. Well, that was good. Let me know in the comments, do you guys oil your scalp afterwards? After you're done braiding your hair, or if after you're done doing your client's hair, do you oil your scalp? And is that important to you? Let me know in the comments.
video, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
Wow, that was amazing. Literally, that was amazing. Honestly, listen, I give it to her. I literally give it to her because how in the world are you sitting there parting your braids with absolutely no mirror in the back? And then on top of that, you're doing it as you go. Like I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Like I literally give her a big one because girl, what in the world? Literally, what in the world? So we're gonna go to the next video. Uh-oh. Lord, did I not press stop? Okay, we're gonna go to our next video. This next video is put this down. This is literally blocking my entire mouth. Hello. Okay, so this is going to be a video from Indie Bindi, who I love. I love Indie Bindi. She's such a boss babe. And she's always dropping gems, literally always dropping gems. So let's get right into it. Hold on, let me set the playback speed. All right.
Hi babes, I just did these medium knotless braids on myself and I'm going to show you guys what I use and how I did them. So the materials that you're going to need are Outrace Twisted Up 4X DIY pre-stretch braiding hair, and I got the color 2T1B/violet. This braiding hair is great for knotless braids and comes in 40, 50, and 60 inches. It's also very lightweight but still full when it comes to volume. A rat tail precision comb that has a rat tail edge and a shine and jam, and I use the yellow one. So step one is going to be to part down the middle from the front to the back. And a tip that I use is to line up my comb in the middle of my nose to make sure that my part is in the middle. And I am going ahead and using the rat tail end of my comb as well as my tri mirror to make sure my part is straight.
Excuse me. So sis said middle part. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And then she has a tri mirror. So that's a lot easier setup than the other girl. I don't know what in the world, how in the world, what's her name? Mariah. I don't know how she was able to pull that one off and have the braids look as good as they looked. They looked amazing. And she did that literally with blindly. So Indie Bendy is doing the setup that I usually do, but I have a new setup and I will get into that. I think I actually mentioned it earlier in the video. Let me know in the comments if you caught it, because I think I did mention it. So
at first, it could be a little intimidating trying to maneuver your comb with your hands because you are essentially doing it in the mirror backwards. But with practice and time, it definitely becomes a lot easier. So next, you're going to use your shine and jam and place it directly on your part. And then you're going to repart it with the precision edge of your comb just to make sure your part is as crisp as possible. So now we're going to do the same thing but horizontally from ear to ear. And you're going to make a T part essentially from ear to ear and directly down the middle of your head. The row below the top of my ear is going to be my first row, and I'm going to base the size of every row above it off of that one. So for the sizing, I did medium, and I did 6 rows in total. Make sure you're using a brick layering pattern, which means that the boxes are staggered on top of each other to make it full but not heavy. So let's talk about how much hair you should be pulling out of your bundle. I like to keep my pieces small so that I have a lot of room to work with the size of my braid. And if I want to build up on that size, I'll add more pieces, or if I want my braids to be smaller, I'll add less pieces. So I'm going to start off by showing you guys how I do my overhand method of installing a knotless braid. And I find this one to be a little bit easier once you get the proper hand positioning down to do it, because it allows you to have more grip. So you're going to first start off by splitting your piece into 3 sections. You're going to grab that right piece with your right hand, and the middle and left piece with your left hand. Now I am right-handed. If you're left-handed, it might be opposite for you. Just do whatever feels most comfortable. So I'm going to scoop my hands closest to the base of my head and begin braiding. So using your index finger and your thumb, you're going to go underneath the middle piece, grab the left side, and do the same thing to the other side. Go underneath that middle piece with your index finger and thumb and grab the right side. This video is not mirrored, by the way. It's not flipped backwards. So you can literally watch this video, place your hands behind your head, and copy the same movements that my hands are doing. So now we're going to add in our braiding hair. So you're going to hold the braiding hair in between your fingers and place it in between your index finger and thumb that's already holding your actual hair. You want to make sure that the strands of your real hair are lining up with the strands of the braiding hair. And again, use your index finger and thumb to go underneath the middle and grab the other side. I prefer to do the overhand method for braids in the back of my head that I can't necessarily reach by turning my head. So this method is easier for me, but you want to make sure that you're also keeping your fingers and your hands close to the base of your head so that you're not pulling on the braid and it's not falling apart as you're trying to braid it. But the process is the same. You're going to continue adding pieces to the right side until the braid is the size that you want. For me, I did add about 8 or 9 pieces in total, but as these braids are super long past my butt, I did add more strands.
8 or 9 pieces. That's literally crazy. But it depends, because she said she adds small pieces. So if she wants her size to be super big, then 8 or 9 pieces makes sense. If she wants her braids to be a little bit smaller, I mean, you honestly could add as many pieces as you like. It really depends on how much hair you're using. So she says she uses small pieces. So, I mean, we'll see how it turns out in the end. But it's looking good so far for what she's already done.
Toward the bottom of the braid to make it longer. But toward the top, I added about 5 pieces. But honestly, I don't really count how many pieces I'm adding, as sometimes the hair in the back of my head is thicker than the hair in my front. So I just add pieces until my braid starts to become the size of the ones around it. So throughout braiding, you're going to see me touch the base of my braid. And this is just to make sure that it's not twisting as I'm braiding down. And after I get about 1 inch or 2 down the braid, I switch my hand positioning, find the 3 strands that I was braiding again, and just continue to braid down. This is just to be more comfortable. And if you've ever tried to braid your own hair, you understand what I mean. You can't really continue using the overhand method with your hands in that position, just because as the braid starts to get longer, you have to change your hand positioning.
Mm-hmm. You sure do. And I end up changing my hand position about 2 times. So I do overhand, then I do like this, and then I flip it again, and then I just start braiding down, because it's uncomfortable doing your own hair. It really is. You cannot just sit there and braid like you're doing somebody else's hair. You have to like maneuver and adjust. It's crazy.
Down to the point where I want it to be. Once I've decided that my braid is as long as I want it to be, I'll stop adding pieces and just continue to braid all the way down to the end. So now we're going to move on to how to start a knotless braid using the underhand method. This method is very similar to the overhand method. The only difference is that I'm using my middle fingers to lead and go underneath that middle piece. My hands are also angled inward as I'm braiding with more of the underside of my hand, therefore underhand braiding. So we're going back to step 1, split the piece into 3 sections, and this time you can see my hands are facing the braid and angled inward. So this time, instead of using my index finger, I'm using my middle finger to go underneath that piece and add in the hair. With this method, I add a piece of hair in between my middle finger and my index finger and continue to braid. I prefer to use this method when I'm on the sides of my head and the front of my head, and this is just because I'm able to actually use my hands to reach. As you can see, my head's like kind of turned a little bit, and if I try to use this one in the back of my head, it's just a little difficult, and I literally have to twist my neck like an owl. So this one's really helpful to use on the sides, the front, and the top of your head.
And she ain't lying, because listen, as soon as I get to these edges right here, you'll see these little edges. My hair is so fine. I literally have to do just like that. If I do it like this, oh my gosh, it is like, it's the worst. But sometimes I've noticed, like when I actually do it like this, the braid ends up a little straighter and tighter, but also the way that I feed in the hair, I haven't quite figured out how to feed it in the way I like to feed it in, doing it like this. So that's why I sometimes do it like this on this side in particular. On this side, I pretty much do the same thing, but I mean, whatever.
Making sure that you're keeping your hand as close to the base of the braid as possible is going to make sure that it's tight and it doesn't flip. Sometimes you'll see me pull on individual strands to kind of angle the braid more in the middle of the box and to make sure that everything is tight and the way I want it to be. Again, I do switch my hand positioning to make it more comfortable for me as I'm braiding down the braid.
Let me know in the comments which braid method do you guys use. If you do your own hair specifically, do you use the underhand method? I feel like when you're doing the back of your hair, there's no other way to do it but the underhand method. So if the girlies in the chat use it a different type of way, let me know, because I haven't figured it out.
I'm going in an up and down motion to let the water straighten out the ends. You don't want your ends to be all crinkly and crunchy looking. After dipping, I go ahead and use my scissors to snip off any tangles or any pieces that just don't match the rest of the braids. And finally, the last step is to add that mousse. The mousse that I use is Vigoral's olive oil mousse, and it's about a few dollars at your local beauty supply store. And this mousse is just going to set any flyaways that I have in place. In total, this style did take about 8 hours, but I broke it up into 2 4-hour sessions with a big sleep in between. So this is what my parting's looking like. I did 6 rows with 45 to 50 braids in total, and this is the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if this really helped you out, please let me know down in the comments, or if you have any questions or comments, let me know, guys. I really hope this helped you out if you're trying to do your hair for the first time, for the second time, anytime. And do not forget to hit the subscribe button to see more videos and content like this. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching.
Ooh, sis, she did that. No, she did that. For real. She did that. That size would be considered actually larger than my large. I feel like, no, those are probably my large. But I think she does more rows along the side of the head. I think my boxes are more narrow than hers for my large braids. But I will say she did that. The braids was clean. I love Indy Bendy because she's always dropping gems. So let's get into the next video. We are on our last video here. So this video is going to be, is that it? Yeah, that's it. This video is going to be by Ryan Samantha. The title is How to Do Knotless Box Braids on Yourself, Detailed and Beginner Friendly, My First Time. Ooh, that's juicy. We love it when it's our first time. So let's get
What's up, you guys? It's your girl Ryan Samantha. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, guys, I'm finally showing you guys how I did my knotless braids on my own. I know I was supposed to put this video out a long time ago, and I also totally forgot to film an intro.
Let's just get right into it, y'all.
So I'm starting on blow dried hair, and the first thing you want to do is make a straight part down the middle of your head. I am actually looking at a 3-way mirror in front, and I also have a mirror behind me, and that makes the world of a difference. I'm telling you guys. But yeah, just make your middle part all the way down from the front to the back.
First of all, let's get into her beautiful hair. Oh my gosh, I am jealous. Her hair is so thick and long. Like, I know doing her hair is definitely a lot of work, but it's gorgeous. And she's gorgeous too.
Once you got your part, to make everything nice and clean and to kind of make the part stay, you're going to take the Shine and Jam and just run that along the parts, and then you're just going to go over it again with your rat tail comb just to make the parts neater. And I did this on every single one of my parts, and again, this helps to clean things up and give you that nice crisp line or part. Once you got your middle part down, you're going to want to make a part from ear to ear, and again, you're just going to clean up your parts with the same method that I told you guys about earlier. I know this is super tedious, but I promise you, if you don't get your parts right, your braids will not fall nicely and it just will look super messy. So this part is important to take your time and get your parts correct. So I'm putting some of the Moisture Rich Hair Parfait. This is from Alki Naturals. It's basically just like a hair moisturizer / hair oil. You don't have to use this exact one, but I do like to put this in my hair because I'm going to be putting my hair away for a while and I just want to lock in some moisture. And next I'm just going to make sure I detangle. This is also something that will make or break your style. You want to make sure that your hair is fully detangled before you start braiding. So the next thing you want to do is split that section into 2 equal parts. Mine weren't as equal, so just kind of make sure it's a little bit more equal because then obviously your braids are going to be different sizes, but just make it as equal as you possibly can, and then again, clean up your parts. So now you can see I got 4 little sections, and this is going to make the bricklayering of your braids so much easier. So by using the middle part as a guide, I'm going to create 2 separate parts on each side of the middle part. I know that sounds confusing, but basically you're going to have 2 squares on each side of the middle part. You guys have no idea how proud I was when I finally finished my first braid, but like I said before, you're going to have 2 braids on either side of the middle part, and what you want to do is take the Shine and Jam and put it all over the section, and then you're going to comb it throughout your hair, and then you're going to split that little square into 3 parts to start braiding. So after that, I just started braiding my natural hair like normal, and I braided my natural hair down twice before I added the braiding hair. And I realized that the braids at the bottom of my head were a lot bigger than the ones at the top, simply because I added a lot more hair in the beginning and I used bigger pieces. But I found that it was actually a lot nicer looking when I used smaller pieces and just added more of those smaller pieces. Hopefully that makes sense, but it just makes it easier to blend your natural hair and the braiding hair, especially at the root. So just keep that in mind. The other thing that I found made things look a lot smoother was adding the hair in intervals. So instead of adding a lot of the hair at the beginning and then braiding down, I found when I added the hair, braided it down probably 3 times, and then added another section of hair. That to me just made things look a lot better, opposed to just adding a lot of it right after I finished adding the previous piece.
So I'm gonna have to disagree with that because I actually think that all you need is 3 pieces. Like all these 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of braid hair, I feel like that is just I don't want to say over the top, but I just feel like that's taking too much of your time. Like the goal is to get in and out, whether you're doing it on yourself or doing it on your client's hair, because nobody wants to sit all day. And I think that's why a lot of braiders take like 9 to 10 hours to do braids, because we're adding like so many pieces of hair. And I'm guilty of this. I used to do 6 pieces and it drew out the time so much. But I've learned that like 3 pieces, 3, let's go. You know, next braid, let's go. But you do have to measure your density and figure out the right amount. Because sometimes like around my edges, I have to split it into 4 in order for this to lay flat, in order for the braid to stick to the root pretty much. So I see what she's saying, but yeah, you really only need 3 pieces. Let me know in the comments how many pieces of braid hair you add to your braids.
Once the hair was getting a little bit too long for me to braid, I did put it in my mouth, and that just made it easier to braid all the way down. I also added hair to the bottom because I wanted the length, and I actually didn't buy braiding hair that was the length of the hair that I wanted. So I did have to add some hair at the bottom. You don't have to do that if you don't want your braids to be super long. But my braids ended up to be just a little bit past my bum. I am just braiding down. I will say, if this is your first time, or you're just on like the first row, I should say, at the back, I wouldn't braid all the way down just because you may have to redo some braids, and you don't want to have to start unraveling all the way from the bottom, unless of course you're okay with just cutting the hair. But I did have to do that, and it was really annoying to have to unravel the hair all the way from the bottom. So just a little tip that may help you. I'll let you guys know that. So continuing with the bricklayering method, you guys, you want to use your middle part once again as a guideline. So the first square in the second.
Yes, sis. We not braiding all the way down yet. No. We got to install and then braid down, because the main part is getting the braids in the hair. Just get the braids in the hair. We can braid down later. And like she said, if you want to take some braids out that aren't laying right, or that you installed wonky or inconsistent from the rest of the braids, take it out, redo it. You don't have to go all the way, because I braid all the way down. You don't have to go all the way from here and start taking it out. No, let's get them in our head, and then we can make the alterations.
Second row should fall directly between the middle part of the bottom row. And you're just going to continue doing that, and that will ensure that all of your sections and parts line up correctly. For those of you wondering, I'd say I'd add on average about 3 to 4 pieces per braid, also depending on the thickness of the section. And then at the ends, just to lengthen the braid, I added 2 extra small tiny pieces. So next, you're going to section off your hair again, and I just used the middle part and went all the way to behind my ears, and that's going to leave you with 4 sections that should look like this. Okay, guys, so this next step is super crucial to ensure that you have the same amount of rows on each side of your head. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go by the center part, and I'm just reserving 2 rows at the top of my head. And again, that's just going to make sure that everything is equal and I have the right amount of rows on each side of my head. I couldn't get it on camera, but this is what it should look like. All right, so I'm working on the first section above my ears, and as you can see, I already mapped out all of my parts, and I just kind of clipped them up. So tired, but I'm honestly so glad that I did it myself.
Hold on, let's go back.
All right, so I'm just showing you the final braids on the top. This is how I parted them, and I'm just going ahead and finally doing my last braid, you guys. This was such an amazing feeling because I was so tired, but I'm honestly so glad that I did it myself because I can, and why pay that money if I can do it myself? But yeah, so I'm just gonna finish this braid.
Those parts look really good. Like, I'm impressed. Those look really good. And the hardest part about braiding your hair is the top part, the crown. Oh my gosh. It is the worst part in the world because literally everything is opposite. You're doing everything backwards. So for her to get them parts super straight like that, I commend you for that.
Quickly, and then I'm going to show you guys how I finish my hair. All right, so it's time to do these fully grown hairs because there's nothing baby about them. But like I told you guys, I did fix them afterwards. But some people like baby hairs like this, but it was just too much to maintain for me on a daily basis. So I did go ahead and fix them afterwards. But for now, this is how I style them. I used just Eco Styler and First Touchdown edge control. So this next step, I'm just putting some mousse all over my hair. And I love this feeling because it just feels so good on my scalp. Plus, it just polishes the look and kind of meshes your natural hair and the braiding hair together. And once I finish putting this all over, I definitely go ahead and tie it down and just let it dry so that, again, it just locks everything in. All right, so I'm just going to seal my ends, and I made sure to put a towel underneath my hair because I don't want to burn myself. But I personally don't put my whole braid into the water. I only do the ends because I don't want to put my real hair into boiling hot water.
There's a lot of controversy with that. Do you guys dip high or do you dip low? Because the girlies keep saying like, oh, if you dip your hair and if you put your hair in the hot water, it's gonna give it split ends. Me personally, I don't necessarily believe that because we put direct heat from a flat iron to our hair, and that's not a problem. Hot water, it's not going to burn your hair. It's not going to burn your hair. It's used to seal the synthetic hair. It'll burn the synthetic hair. But because if you notice, hot water is more gentle than direct heat. When you dip synthetic hair, nothing happens to it. It gets soft. When you put When you put a flat iron to synthetic hair, it literally burns it. So I feel as though when you dip your natural hair, nothing happens to it except that it's just getting wet. That's it. But I don't know. I don't know anything, guys. I don't know anything. No, I'm just playing. Let me know in the comments what you guys do. Do you guys dip high or low? Because there's a lot of controversy on that. And I just believe that it does nothing.
So this step is optional. Some of the ends look a little bit too scraggly for me, so I did go ahead and cut them off. I also realized I didn't finish some of the ends, so that's why you'll see that it just looks a little bit unfinished. But I cut them off as best as I could, and this is how long my hair actually was. It ended up being a little bit past my bum, but honestly, I was feeling myself. You couldn't tell me anything. So much so that I totally forgot to film how my hair looked after I did my makeup and everything. So I'm just gonna insert some pictures and videos so that you guys can see how it turned out. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I hope you really enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I promise you guys I'll try my best to answer in a timely manner, but I will be braiding my hair again just because it's just so much easier for this.
Sis is gorgeous. Like, she did that. She did that. For real. I said, okay. All right, now. I absolutely loved every single one of those videos. It was very informative. And I just love seeing us as Black women being resourceful and saving some coin, even though it costs us time. It's okay. It's good to be able to be self-sufficient. It's good to be able to do our own hair. It's good to be able to know a skill that a lot of people actually don't know. And I know in our community, it's very common for everyone to feel and think that you're supposed to know how to braid, but it's actually not as common as we think. There's a lot of Black women that don't know how to braid, don't know how to don't know the first thing about hair. That's why you have your women that stay in the salon, will never touch their hair. And then you have your women that are self-sufficient that will do their hair if they need to and save some coin. But listen, sometimes it's not always about saving coin. Sometimes you just want to buy your time back. So I get it. I get it to those that stay in a salon, and I get it to those that do it yourself, because listen, I'm the DIY queen here. I always do my own hair. I stay doing my own hair. I do my own hair, nails, lashes, eyebrows, everything. So I get it. But I that's something that's relaxing for me. That's something that I do as self-care for me. Not everybody is like that, but I will say I give it to those that stay in the salon too, because y'all love to pay for your time, and I get it 100%. So let me know in the comments which one was your favorite video. I feel like all three of them were amazing, and they all did an amazing job. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a video. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.